Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Debbie Murad, and I am the co-host of this Natural Balance program with Mia Saenz, and I'm very happy to have you with us today, Mia. Mia Saenz is a love alchemist. She's a third-generation metaphysical practitioner, and she's learned the wisdom of healing and prayer from her well-known grandmother. She is a self-love teacher, Mia is, and for anyone who feels alone and yet dreams of knowing the joy of a love-soaked life. So Mia, welcome.
Thank you so much, Debbie. It's great to be here side by side with you.
It's wonderful. Is there anything else that you want people to know about you before we get started?
I'm Wonder Woman. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, you are.
Just like you, we're here to help assist people in having healing and change and a happier life. And you guys can read about me in other places. I'm a business strategist, and I'm a self-love teacher and metaphysical practitioner. And I think the list goes on a little bit, and that's okay. That's great.
Yeah, it does. It does. So if you can tell us about, how a life can love you back. Could you tell us about what you do and this idea of self-love and how loving ourselves creates a life that loves us?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me personally, and I know that the huge majority of the population is under the same thing, where there was something in our life from early ages that was traumatic for us, that started our belief system in fear and scarcity and limitation and feeling unloved and not feeling very empowered by who we were. We raise our children, I think, a little bit differently in this era than they did, previously for eternity. And so due to my childhood PTSD and due to what my circumstances were, I know my mom loved me, but she was highly abusive. So due to that, I really reached out for love in a greater way. I was always a little activist on the playground that would stop the fights, and simply because I didn't like it, especially if I knew somebody was bullying somebody. Mm-hmm. So it's who I've been and where I've stood my entire life. And so living a love-soaked life looks like removing all the angst and anger and things that hold you back, these beliefs that we're not good enough, that our life can't be smooth, that we can't find the right love, the right life, we don't wake up happy. And it moves us into a centered place with ourselves. So there's a lot of joy and there's a lot of great smoothness coming into our life. Now, what that smoothness looks like is I wake up happy in the morning, where before it was just like, oh my God, do I have to get out of bed? I bound out of bed because I'm excited to meet the day. What is going to meet me here? What's exciting and new? And so that's what a love-soaked life looks like in every area and element of your life, recreating it so that it serves you. And one of the things that helps us move into that is the Dream, Believe, Create process, which you guys can find on the site in the book, Mirror, Mirror, a step-by-step guide to a life that loves you back. Okay. Just had to throw that in so they could already start to think about, enjoying the change. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because we don't know what we want to move into until we actually spend the time to examine what that looks like, to expand our consciousness, to say, wow, if I could create anything I want to be Wonder Woman, that job's probably already taken, but you can be as close to whatever you want. You can create whatever you want. If you want to call yourself Wonder Woman, go ahead. I know people who have changed their names to crazy things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is what you call conscious self-love. What are some of the practices that people use to create this, or that you use?
Mm-hmm. Conscious self-love is an accelerated form of self-love. Self-love is where we just do all sorts of nice things for ourselves to make ourselves feel good. Mm-hmm. Conscious self-love is that conscious aspect we put in, the intention that we're doing this because we've already learned that we are, whether you want to use the word magnificent, whether we're, everyone is special and great. And so that means us too, not just somebody that we love, but we are too. So putting the conscious awareness in is very powerful in everything you do. Here's a little sample. So you're already doing your mirror work and you're already doing your inner child process meditation. You're already doing all your stuff that's really shifting and changing you, but you still don't feel connected deeply within yourself. There's that black hole in your solar plex that needs to be sealed shut and healed and just removed from your body so you feel good to be in the skin you're in and whom you are. So one of the practices that I have people do as they begin to work on their self-love stuff is as simple as making your morning coffee, your tea, or your hot lemon water in the morning, and being aware that you're doing it with joy and being aware that you're doing it for you. Because why? Because you deserve it. You're great. If you've ever told yourself, I'm doing this because I am amazing, when you get past the part that it's unreal into finally understanding and accepting it, there's a huge shift within us. I remember when I went through all the years of my self-love work to being able to say that statement to myself and understand its truth. I instantly, and it doesn't work instantly for everybody, but I've been doing this work a long time, but I instantly had this really strange twitter inside of me, kind of like those butterflies. And I was like, wow, this is really a strange feeling. I feel like I do when I see a cute guy or something. So it was that appreciation, that excitement for me, that deep love. And it continues to grow if we allow it. Remember, everything takes practice. Our subconscious, I call the iron trap. And so our subconscious wants to still live what it knows. It's not here to hurt us, but it wants to keep us in the pattern that we've already been in. So as we elevate up and out, our consciousness has to work with our subconsciousness in order to get it to a level that it understands and doesn't just stop us. It doesn't keep producing this major depression. Everything takes practice. You know, we see, you know, who's your favorite artist right now, Debbie? Some musician or something. Let's just say Yanni. So whether that's true or not, that man spent years, his entire life practicing the piano. So my point about this is everything takes practice to get to the state of grace that you want to be. So if you want to be happy, you want to be joyous, you want to live an abundant, prosperous life, you must practice it, because fairies are not going to come and drop it on your head. You literally have to work it. And unfortunately, on planet Earth, when we're born, there is so much that we need to get through. The birthing process, I really like people to understand this. The birthing process is so traumatic on our soul. We're pushed out of a vagina that's very narrow. And yes, we're small, but we're pushed out. It's so traumatic that we literally forget what we're meant here to do, you know, what our soul wants to do. Mm-hmm. And immediately we're crying because that was very stressful, and the lights are bright, and it's cold, and we're not getting the attention we want. We're not getting our information. So we don't speak the same language as our parents. We're speaking yeah, and they're speaking English or whatever language they're speaking. It takes a long time for us to be able to communicate properly so that these belief systems stop developing. They'll continue to develop, whether it's negative or positive, from our parents simply, and society. It's not just our parents, it's everywhere. But simply because this is the way we're already in respect of our parents, we're already in love and in awe, so we're going to listen. So we retrain ourselves more or less, which is sort of sad, but we retrain ourselves when we're older. And that's what this self-love work is all about. It's about reprogramming your mind. When I grew up, there was the thought of mind control and that kind of stuff. So when I say this, I want to explain that we are simply these beautiful organic computers. We literally are, because our brain holds information and it processes and we can calculate. We might not be as fast as a man-made, non-organic computer, but we are so amazing. So to allow ourselves to understand that we can expand into opening up our belief system to retrain the patterns of what we're thinking. Those who think, I'm ugly, nobody will love me, nobody will like me, I'm this, I'm that. We're repeating these patterns in our brains. So what's coming out is all this negativity. Mm-hmm. If we put in the good information about being glorious and grateful and happy and joyous, and in the beginning, it may sound like it's like, what are you saying? but it works to the point where we're retraining the patterns of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
So everything shifts and life becomes so much greater. So that's the conscious aspect, is you're aware that you're doing it because you want change. You deeply want the change. And so you embrace the change by literally, even with your hot lemon water, coffee, or tea, saying, I'm preparing this for me in love because I am absolutely worth that. I'm absolutely worth that love.
Mm-hmm. No,
So that's an example.
that's great. I feel more love just listening to you.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah. So, how do we find balance? This is a natural balance program. How do you help? How do you find balance? How do you help people find balance?
Well, this is how I literally find my balance. We are either introverts or extroverts. And for me, I didn't realize that I was an extrovert, or I'm an extroverted introvert. I never thought that I was an introvert, simply because the word introvert was like, what? An extrovert is like, oh my gosh, it's that person that's like leaping off of buildings and being crazy. And an introvert is somebody who should be locked away in a cell, right? So, which isn't true. So when I understood that I needed to appreciate and give myself the time as an introvert for my self-reflection every day, I 99% of the time meditate. I literally, and then when I get out of, something comes, family or whatever, you have to shift back into this because it's the most important thing for you. For me, I also find balance in my daily walks or going to the gym. A routine that's planned out really does find balance for people. And what we're doing is we're implementing all these things that make us feel supported. So when in the morning I have my quiet time and I give treatments for my clients and I meditate and I pray, at night I spend time by myself outside, just enjoying the sky. Yes, I live in the city and I don't get to enjoy it as much, but these are things that are deeply important for me. If I don't have my nighttime unwind, then I don't sleep as well. I'm just not, balanced out the same. So discover what balances you out. Write it out on a piece of paper. I would like to be more joyous. Okay, how do I do that? Well, people talk about affirmations or meditations. Maybe I should look into that and include that in my daily routine. If we spend a few minutes, now I'm not saying spend 2 hours meditating. I'm saying spend 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Build up to whatever makes you feel comfortable. A 20-minute meditation in the morning or a 15 is wonderful. We're talking about none to a 15-minute, and that's brilliant. You don't have to do the 20 hours. I hear people, I went into meditation and I came out 2 days later. I mean, that scares the heck out of people.
Yeah.
I've never gone into meditation and come out 2 hours or 2 days later. So know that we have our limitations, we have our space, and we can create that balance by creating a schedule and following it, simply by utilizing these tools that are progressive for you, especially affirmations. They literally will change how you think about yourself. One of my favorite ones is it's from Access Consciousness, and it's not the full one I use. I just use part of it. Everything good comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And when you understand the words of things, that's how, as a young kid, I shifted so much through prayer, is I understood what I was saying. I would stop and break it down, not just say the words, but understand exactly what was coming out of my mouth, or something that I heard that would support my life. So spend the time on you, because it's really super cool.
Yeah. And I know that you do a lot of inner child work, breaking beliefs, and mastering your thoughts, and getting what you want by changing beliefs, like you just explained. What else does all of this work help with for healing? Because I think you're all over the map in terms of what's possible.
Right. Well, everything's possible, and anything's possible. Everything has to have this like light switch go off in your brain. So which is our conscious awareness. And I love to explain consciousness as simply as this. Consciousness in this explanation is a purple balloon. So you decide you want a purple balloon, a really big, fat, beautiful purple balloon. And you go to a party store and you find the right color purple. And it's just this flat, skinny balloon that's just like, it doesn't look like a balloon. So you have it blown up with helium, you take it home, And then an hour later, you say, gosh, I want to see what that balloon looks like now. So if you let out the helium, what you're going to see is expansion. You'll see ripples or stretch marks. This is the way that humanity's consciousness expands. Once we've expanded it, it can never go back to its former state. So with that, it's so powerful. And it moves you along so quickly when you understand that you don't go back 10 steps. You stay where you are. But again, this is allowing our brain to, and our subconscious also, to settle into what's happening. Be patient with yourself. If you start to slip backwards, here's what I recommend. 1, understand that it's sometimes part of the process in the beginning. 2, the Deep Pockets process in my book, on my site that you can have for free, will help get you back out of it. But understanding that we do these shifts, and once you say you want something and you're fully committed and you move towards it, you're moving towards it. You don't have to go backwards. So that's literally how we move forward in that aspect. What does it do? It helps with sexual trauma. I had so much of it growing up from my Girl Scout leader's husband. Yeah. Then later on, I had been raped. And so we're changing the energy of our story. So through love, we change that energy of our story. I no longer will cry my eyes out because someone touched me inappropriately and I felt stifled for 20 years. It's about moving forward. It's being the best you want to be, because so many people say, I'm a survivor. Well, do you know what that means to me? It means you had something that stopped you. And I used to live in survival mode with my kids and my ex-husband years ago when they were growing up. But when I changed this shift into this life 10 years ago, I call myself a thriver because I thrive. I don't survive. I have no interest in surviving. I mean, literally, I have no interest in survival. I have interest in growing and thriving, in loving and laughing, and being the person that I want to be. That if we use it on a planetary level of people to pick out, most people say, I want to be that person too. I want to be happy. I want to be joyous. I want to be abundant. I want to create things. I want people to love me and squeeze me and hold me. We all want these things. This is part of the human reality that we're in. And so let's create things that support our life moving forward, because we each deserve to have the best experience.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. Well, Mia, is there anything else that you want people to know?
Well, I want you guys to know that to be in the state of creating who you are, it's not about the race. I meet so many clients or prospective clients who say, I want to get to one end really fast. Well, isn't that lovely? You know, let's be a super duper swimmer across the pool. It's not about the race. It's about the journey, literally. And I know that we get tired of hearing that. So what that means is the faster you go through a process, and you're doing it to get through fast, you're losing elements of steps. You're losing the growth, the pattern, the recognition, the information, the conscious awareness. So slow it down. When you slow it down and allow it to absorb into you, you know what happens? You literally are moving faster than you ever thought you would, because you're not stressing yourself out. You're allowing it to flow. You're allowing yourself to rest. And we have to have several resting points. I'm so sorry, the dogs are going crazy. We have to have many resting points in our growth, because again, we're dealing with our subconscious and our conscious. So the steel trap of the subconscious wants to close it down, while the conscious is like, open this great light. And so when the steel trap is closed, nothing's getting out to the light. So relax, be patient with yourself. That's part of the initial stages of self-love, is that extreme patience. It's pretty phenomenal.
It really is, yeah. It took me a while to learn that. It's really amazing.
It takes us all a while until we're absolutely ready to step forward and to jump into the space and the experience that we want. And what's more important, the pain, the depression, the sleeping in bed, or getting up and out and living in the sunshine. You know, even weather that has clouds and stuff. I'm looking out the window. That's why I keep looking over there, because I'm looking at the sky. Even a place that has clouds. There's sunshine there within you, because the weather doesn't even determine who you are. We talk about so much about these mood altering, I can't remember at the moment, but winter brings depression for many people.
Right.
And so it's not about the light. And yes, physically we need light and all that. So you can go under sun lamps and everything that you need to do there. But it's about getting rid of the old patterns and beliefs. So as you shift and change, you don't have to have depression because there's no sun out. You get a sunlight and you shift your thoughts. You rework it. You rework everything. And the reason I can say this is I've had a very daunting experience before 10 years ago or before 9.5 years ago. So shifting through things is possible. You're capable. And it's literally our divine right to do so. And as everybody can tell, I teach in a spiritual tone. So
yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. So I know you have a free gift. Do you want to tell people about that?
Sure. So my free gift is my book, Mirror, Mirror, on my site. Mirror, Mirror, a step-by-step guide to a life that loves you back. And there's 4 processes in there that literally will shift and change your experience. There's the dream, believe, create. That's how we create and expand our conscious awareness of what we want to grow into. When that process came to me, all my healing came through prayer and meditation. I literally would ask questions and they would come. There was a point, and this is where Mirror, Mirror came in, where literally I had a tapping or a knocking on my door, my mental door, where I got up on my birthday and the doctors had just given me the month before information that I had less than 2 years to live, that my organs were closing. And so on my birthday, I got up and I thought, well, this is my birthday. I'm going to try to make this a great day. I'm pretty much an invalid and I'm not well and blah, blah, blah. So I went out and sat on the couch, and this is where the knocking on my mental door happened. I heard a voice, and I know it was one of my moments with God. We all have them throughout our life. And I heard, you've been unhappy your whole life. What would it be like to be happy? And I have to say, thank God that happened, because that was a huge shift for me. I was like, wow, what do I do? And then I heard, you'll know. And so I just relaxed into it. And so I envisioned in the 5 elements, which is spirituality, life, relationship, work, and finances, what they could expand to. And what I saw was so great that I was ready to go. And that literally was a change that shifted my life. I'm here today, 9.5 years later, didn't die in less than 2 years. I actually got out of the wheelchair and built my inner core and did things that I hadn't done in 5 years, like hanging out with my kids all day and not sleeping, going to the gym and working out. So it's not that I was lazy. I literally had paralysis in my arms and legs documented from boxes that fell on my head. So we can do and create anything. Again, we're these organic computers. So allow the graces of who you are, literally who you are, to flood through you. You can do amazing things. So that's in the book. There's other processes too, but it's really fabulous. And anything on my site you want, just download for free and take it. It's really much a resource site for the self-love growth through trauma and through just connecting to self on a deeper level. I do want to say, which is unrelated to the book, but it's part of the book because it's part of my work, is self-love opens us up literally, almost like our soul is within us and it cracks us open and our soul can escape and do what it wants to do. So we talked about the birthing process being so traumatic and us being closed off. This is what self-love does. It reopens up who we are. It gives us that divine connection to self and to our creator or higher self. And in more of a mainstream terms, self-love literally just wipes away the self-hatred, the mistrust, the unconfident self, and it allows us to be confident. It seriously does. So it's beautiful work.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it.
And I recommend everybody going to your website and downloading the free gifts and the Mirror Mirror book, which is amazing, as are you. So thank you so much, Mia. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. It's great.